and Cape Talk.
The Organic and Natural Products Expo Africa 2026 is on at the Cape Town International Convention Center, and the small and medium enterprises will go under the spotlight at this expo. To talk to us about this is Deenash Pillay. Deenash is the head of small business segments for business and commercial banking at Standard Bank. Deenash, a very good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Africa, and good morning to the listeners. Thanks for having me.
It's lovely to have you back on the show. Your bank is bringing together experts in enterprise banking, sustainability, and supplier development to unpack what it really is to build financially healthy, resilient businesses. Perhaps let's start then at the beginning. How would you define financial health?
So, Africa, I think in today's times, in the past, most definitions of financial healthy business would be profitability. But I think the way the world has changed in economic climate, resilience, agility, cash flow predictability, understanding the high cost, the unpredictability of the environment, I think those are, but to mention a few just in terms of how the financial health of small business looks like today. I think further to that, there's also the health quality, the high digital quality financial tools that businesses need, the capability of weathering economic shocks or unexpected outcomes. So I think there's a lot more in this profitability as in the past for small businesses to consider.
And weathering unpredictability is certainly seeming to be the order of the day, right? Particularly with one Donald Trump at the White House Oval Office, because you never quite know what's going to happen next. Because let's be clear, at the beginning of the year, no one was predicting that the price of fuel would be as high as it is today.
100%, Africa. And I think if you look at these current economic conditions, like you said, the fuel oil prices, especially the fact that we're looking to help our small business to expand beyond the borders of South Africa. And with that, it comes at additional costs for this uncertain, unpredictable expenses that have forthcoming based on not realizing what the oil prices are going to do, how it's going to affect transport, export, and so forth. So definitely, those unforeseen circumstances when a statement by someone anywhere in the world that has the power to change things, it can actually affect small businesses tremendously.
Yeah, we won't even touch, of course, his decision on AGOA. That's another conversation altogether. What are some of the more common financial mistakes that you find SMEs are still making?
Africa, I think the most common ones are still, poor cash flow management is the big one. I think mixing personal and business finances still comes up across, where using a lot of the business finances that used to be our money, the profitability, that should be reinvested to grow the business, actually ends up paying for personal expenses and the personal lifestyle, underpricing the products in terms of not understanding the cost to manufacture or to buy and then to resell it, and then also there are some of the compliance aspects like, your tax obligations, and making sure that you really can track your finances real time. So keep on track day to day, weekly, monthly. It's not just a month-end scenario where you need to say, do I have enough money to pay my expenses? It's really about, making sure that you're managing that cash flow on a day-to-day basis, which still tends to be the biggest financial mistake that SMEs are making.
The expo is around organic and natural products. How can SMEs, do you think, tap into that growing demand for such products?
I think in terms of the National Organic Expo Africa, they really can grow the demand for the natural products by focusing on really value addition and not really just selling the products as raw products, but rather by processing in terms of proper branding, packaging, really creating a name out there for themselves to be able to export and grow it further, really to make sure that they focus on prioritizing the customer's health and sustainability pieces in terms of their products, and really to position themselves very differently. There is lots of competition out there, but there's also lots of opportunity. How do they source locally? How do they make sure there's indigenous ingredients? It's ethical, eco-friendly practices. So they adhere to these things to make sure that they stand out there and they are competitive, they are able to compete, they're able to go out there and show that their products are the products that our consumers should buy, and that they are able to also expand their markets beyond the borders and across the world.
In fact, we cannot underscore that enough, right? Because the economy in South Africa, in some cases, will never suffice. You would need to be able to explore beyond the borders on the African continent. And if you can have a global profile, that would even be better.
Definitely, Africa. So, I mean, that's where banks come in to support South African businesses to export internationally through tailored trade finance, making sure they comply, using some of the digital platforms to assist as well. I think also assisting South Africa, the Africa-China trade, which at least also provides some opportunity there for the guys to export or businesses to export. And I think also the network in terms of African continent is really to make sure that we can get outside the borders of South Africa, but also within the continent and help the continent grow as well. And banks can also offer expert-led training, local logistics support, and obviously finance for entering these new markets.
The talk that Standard Bank obviously will be presenting will happen from 10:30 until 11:30 on Friday at the Organic and Natural Products Expo Africa. Deenash, is it only open to the people who've signed up to go to the expo? Or could there be a small business enterprise owner who's listening to this and thinking, wait a minute, I actually want to be exposed to that, and let me try and go see if I can be part of that talk, or at least be in the audience during that talk, even if they go for only just that 1 hour?
Definitely, Africa. All small businesses are welcome, to consumers as well, and it's open to everyone to sign up, to register, to attend, and really, I think, to gain good insights. I think the opportunities to meet the exhibitors there, as well as listen into some of the discussions, the panel discussions, the talks that will be held there. So definitely all businesses, small businesses are welcome. If they're listening to this right now, please go and register and sign up to join. And definitely, please come and join us tomorrow at the expo.
Fantastic. Have a wonderful, wonderful session. Deenash Pillay is the head of small business segments for business and commercial banking at Standard Bank. They'll be shining the spotlight on SMEs at the Organic and Natural Products Expo Africa that is at the Cape Town International Convention Center. Their session will be from 10:30 tomorrow morning.